Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Morning Cup. I'm so glad you're here today because we are starting another powerful week with a topic that the term a lot, especially in the coaching world. It is imposter syndrome. What is it? How do you overcome it? How do you know you have it? We're going to talk about all of that today. But before we do that, we're going to start with our quote for the week, which is the greatest obstacle for me has been the voice in my head that I call my obnoxious roommate. I wish someone would invent a tape recorder that we could attach to our brains to record everything we tell ourselves. We would realize how important it is to stop this negative self talk. It means pushing back against our obnoxious roommate with a dose of wisdom by Ariana Huffington. And I love this quote because one, when I read it, I was like, this is just hilarious because I had never seen this quote before, but it's true. Our obnoxious roommate that's in our mind, all this negative self-talk that we tell ourselves, that's what really can create imposter syndrome as well. And we're going to get into that, but it really is pushing back. And I love that she said with a dose of wisdom because it's focusing on the facts, who we truly are. But I think a lot of people, as you start to level up each level, there's a sense of imposter syndrome. I don't think it ever goes away because we're always growing and evolving, and that is exactly why. But if you like this quote, let me know below or what you think of it because I just thought it was really, and it's true because you never know what would really go on if we had a tape recorder and could listen back. We'd probably be a little bit kinder to ourselves. With that being said, what is imposter syndrome? It is the persistent inability to believe that one's success is deserved or has legitimately achieved as a result of one's own efforts or skills. And it really is just that. It feels like we're not good enough or we don't deserve it or it's just we're like a fraud. And we're going to get into that. But that is the definition. By definition. So, what are the signs of imposter syndrome? Well, the first one is I already mentioned it. You feel like a fraud. So, you just feel like, am I really doing this? And can I do this? Maybe charging too much or charging not enough or feeling like you can't. But that's actually one of my examples. But before I get to that one, who am I to do this? That is a question that comes up. It's like, well, do I really need to do this? I know when I left the field of psychology and started my coaching business, I was like, can I really do this? Like, who am I? Yeah, I have this degree, but I hadn't coached before. I coach sports, but not in the capacity of, and it's learning and it's growing and just client you get a little bit more comfortable too and being able to have that solid foundation. But I took my solid foundation, all my skill sets I had prior to starting my coaching, and I encourage you to really look at all the skill sets you have before you start something new. No one's an expert at first. Even if you start to up level, it's new information, territory, how to navigate that. But when we're able to learn how to navigate that, it just allows us to have a little bit of self belief. But the belief doesn't come until we start doing it. Sometimes you just have to think further out and self doing it. Do a lot of visualization, to be quite honest, but really believing in. So it goes back to who am I to do this? One of the signs of imposter. The next one is I'm not good enough. This is a big one because it is what we believe sometimes when imposter syndrome starts to creep in, that we aren't good enough to be, or there's somebody better or smarter or more knowledgeable or whatever it may be. But it's really being able to step back and realizing you are good enough, and it's putting in the work and the effort. When we do that, that's when we start to learn and start to grow and start to really stand in our power. The next one is I can't charge someone for this. When I first started coaching, I did a lot of like free sessions, just kind of feeling my way through it because it's different than therapy, doing therapy. So being able to reframe that of, okay, you can charge someone for this based off of all your experience. Because I look back at my experience and I went to school for 8 years to get a doctorate. And yeah, I might have not coached for 8 years, but I had all this knowledge, all this experience, all my work experience, and taking that and realizing all that studying and all that hard work. Yes, I can charge someone for this based off of the experience I've learned. They don't have to go through all of that. They can just learn from me. So that's where I think, right, remembering that for yourself too. I just got lucky. well, maybe you're just really good at what you do. Maybe it's that you didn't just get lucky, you put in the work and the effort, and that's what got you there. The next one is I really just want to help people. Going to therapy, yeah, because the pay is not always there. It depends on where you are. Of course, every situation is different, every experience is different. Um, but if you're just really focusing on, I just want to help people, like going back to the charging too, like I don't want to charge for that. It's just I love to do it. Also, it's also part of a way of living too. It's recognizing that we need money and is energy, and that's what helps us survive and thrive, being able to buy the things that we need, basic necessities, and then living our life. And then the last one is I have no idea what I'm doing. How many times has anyone said that? I know I felt like that sometimes, even when I was starting out in therapy, my career there, I was like, do I know what I'm doing? Yeah, I did. But imposter syndrome started to creep in because I didn't feel like I was good enough or had enough knowledge, or I still needed to continue to learn. And that's something that I work on too, is till this day, is like I want to know everything and then I apply, but I'm slowly learning and continuing to just apply, and you learn. So those are all the signs. If you have imposter syndrome, I'm sure there's more, but those are the ones. If you have any more, put them in the comment section. So, what types of imposter syndrome are there? Because there's different types. I really didn't know this, but then I was doing a little bit of research before I put this together, and I was like, this is fascinating. So maybe you'll think it is too. So the first one is superhero. So overwork themselves and feeling inadequate. Those are two of the top characteristics. So when we look at overworking ourselves, we want to be the superhero, the super. And when we do that, it's kind of counteracting that feeling like we're not adequate enough, and it's compensating, overcompensating that, because you're like, I can do it, and then still internally feel it. The next one is natural genius. So setting exceedingly high goals, and then you become upset when they're not met because they're unachievable. It's taking those small steps. I talked about this in my last Monday mindset, of really understanding it's those small steps that make such a difference. But if we are setting these goals, it's almost like we're setting ourselves up for failure and upset when they don't get reached. But it's making amazing goals for yourself, but it's also breaking them down. And like I always work backwards of my bigger goals. Like, okay, well, how am I going to get there? What do I need to do? What do I need to do on a yearly basis, monthly, daily, to get to those goals? That's the natural genius. The next one is expert. Never satisfied with level of understanding. So always trying to learn more. I mean, I can relate to probably all of these. But the expert one, just never feeling like you know enough. It's like almost, I kind of say this a lot too to others, but like I feel like the more I learn, the less I know. And I'm always trying to learn more, always trying to grow. But at the same time, if you take that always out and try, because try out of my vocabulary, but being able to take that word out and look on about, okay, well, I can learn more and apply, learn and apply. Those are my two top for that. The next one, which I can totally relate to because I'm a recovering perfectionist, is never happy with their work, fixated on flaws. And so, if you are a perfectionist, you can probably relate to this, where it's just never good enough because internally you never feel good enough. That was something that I had to work. A lot of my clients fall into this one too, but being able to fixate on where the issues are versus like, okay, well, what are my strengths? How can I enhance my strengths? And you can work on the things that are your weaknesses, but not just focused on, okay, well, everything's going wrong, or these are all the things I need to fix. Okay, nobody is perfect. um, Hence perfectionism. But really being able to take that perfectionism out and looking at like, what have you done right? What have you done good? What are you good at? And that can kind of counteract that. But that's the type of imposter syndrome. And then the last one is soloist. And this is prefer to do it alone. Um, the fear of appearing weak or incompetent. So if we are feeling like, okay, I can do it on my own, I don't need help. This is a lot of solopreneurs that I've run into, and there's kind of a piece of just not wanting anyone to do it either. But when we have that fear of just you don't want to seem like you don't have it all together or you got it on your own. So those are just the different types, and I thought those were so interesting, so I had to share with everyone. Um, so how do you stop imposter syndrome? The first way is let go of perfectionism. We are just talking about perfectionism, it's a big one, but being able to let go of it. Well, how do you just let go of perfectionism? Well, it's accepting things as they are sometimes. Instead of fixating on those flaws, you're focused on, oh, wow, I did a great job, and just acknowledging yourself. And I said this in the last video too, validate yourself. Um, the next one is say yes to opportunities. If the opportunity, you might not know what you're doing yet, and that's okay. But a lot of times that's how you learn. Just jump right in. But saying yes to the right opportunities that make sense. Even if it's something you've never done before, just you never know what could happen by trying something. The next one is track your wins. I don't think we celebrate enough when we do have those small wins. If you get a new client, if you have a sale, whatever it may be, it makes such a big difference. But sometimes it's like, okay, I got one, but I need 5 more. Or, okay, I got one customer. Now I need 20 more. Instead of, wow, I got that one customer. How can I continue to help that customer? But I think sometimes it's hard to focus on those celebrations. Always think thing, but just relishing in win. And then have compassion towards yourself. So, really being able to understand too, giving yourself grace and acknowledging when things are great, when things are not so great. That kind of brings me back to the track your wins too. It's because when you're feeling this imposter syndrome that starts to creep up, you feel like a fraud. Celebrate those wins. Celebrate how many customers you've had, how many clients you've had, how much changed somebody's life, whatever it may be. But when we write it down, it's a great remembrance of what's going on when we're feeling in that low point, or it's starting to level up and creeping in of those feelings. And then the next one is change your mindset. Shift your mindset. When we're so focused on everything that's wrong or not feeling good enough, how can we that? How can we really look at like, well, what has gone right? How have we shown up for ourselves? How we've for our clients, our business? How have we done that? How have we shown up for our family? And the next one is focus on the facts. So focus on what has happened. Look at your track record. Go back to tracking your wins. Being able to see that really clearly can help you move forward. So when you're starting to have that feeling of imposter syndrome, about to level up in your so great. Look at all the facts. Look at what got you to that point, and now that's going to carry you to the next point. That's part of growth and scaling your business. And then lastly, don't let fear paralyze you. If you let fear stop you, it is not going to allow you to grow your business, to have your business, because it is going to stop you in your tracks. Not going forward. You're going to feel like, okay, well, I can't, or like, okay, it's just going to have to be how it is. But if we're able to take that fear out, imagine how far we can go. And with that being said, that is today all about imposter syndrome. Thank you so much for watching, and make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. What did you get from it? Was there any type that stood out of imposter syndrome to you? Let me know in the comment section, and I'll see you on the next video.